Tonight on the Canadian Network News Special, Internet Harassment and Cyber-bullying.
Hello and thank you for tuning into tonight's program. I'm your host, Eric Penn. For years, bullying has been a social problem that has affected children everywhere. With the emergence of the internet and social networking websites, online harassment or cyberbullying has become the 21st century's version of bullying. It has extended beyond the classroom and the neighborhood to computers and websites everywhere. Now, people are able to insult others from the comfort of their own home, making the problem worse because bullies are now able to torment children without having to confront them face to face. As social networking websites such as MySpace and Facebook become more and more people are sending messages to each other over the internet. These sites allow people to create an account for free, where they are then able to express themselves however they wish. Blog sites are also places of user-generated commentary, where free expression is encouraged, and where many controversial issues have presented themselves. Now, like in any other form of expression, there is always a chance that people will either express negative ideas or spread false information about people on these web pages. Since it's so easy to do, cyberbullying is becoming more and more popular among younger generations and can have a very detrimental effect on the people it is aimed towards. Michael Wesch sums it up very well when he states that anonymity added with physical distance and rare and ephemeral or brief dialogue can enable the possibility for hatred as public performance, and that these elements also give people the freedom to experience humanity without fear or social anxiety. However, for those who are being bullied, they may feel depressed or upset because things that are said about them online.
With the popularity of YouTube, people have even started posting rude or insulting comments about videos. Perhaps the most famous instance of this is the Numa Numa guy, who put up a video of himself dancing to a famous song, heard here, in a funny and expressive way. People started posting mean comments to the point where comments have now been disabled for that video. In some cases, people can remain anonymous and post comments, which allows for the easy dissemination of mean or cruel information because the people expressing the ideas cannot be identified or tracked. This only adds to the problem. According to Michael Wesch, the internet is not only about information, it is about linking people in ways that they've never been linked before, and in ways that we can't even predict. These links should not be negative, but some people just can't resist insulting others.
According to Jerry Finn of Temple University, as more and more people use the internet, the extent of cyber stalking and online harassment is likely to increase. As everyone becomes more and more familiar with these websites, they are also learning how to use these technologies in order to harm people. Finn also goes on to say that cyberstalking can be just as threatening as stalking in the real world and can lead to anxiety, mental anguish, physical harm, and even homicide. The problem is that it is so easy to harass someone over the internet these days. With a valid email address and username, anyone is able to create a personal account, using their own name or in some cases a fake name. As we will see later, when people use fake names to create accounts, they can lead to very severe consequences for others. Now, we've all heard the effects of online harassment and cyberbullying, but are these dangers taken seriously? If something has the potential to be harmful but does not affect us personally at any level, we have the tendency to ignore it. The fact is, online harassment is happening all around us. It has been happening for a while and will no doubt continue for years as the internet expands beyond belief. Even though we try to teach children not to believe everything they hear, online harassment can be interpreted in a more personal way and can often have the worst consequences. Over the past few years, we have seen several instances where children have been severely impacted by cyberbullying, and often this leads to death. In December of 2008, Abraham Biggs had had enough of the bullying that he was experiencing online. Biggs, a 19-year-old from Florida, announced his intention to take his own life in a live blog feed on a website's forum. His post announced such details as when, where, and how he would end his own life, and it was followed by comments from others, encouraging him to do it as if making fun of him. Abraham was watched by as many as 1,500 people as he lay down on his bed and took enough pills to overdose. It wasn't until hours later that those watching had realized that something had really happened.
During this time, people continued to send bullying messages to him, even after he had passed away. By the time the police arrived at his house and turned off the webcam, a full 12 hours had gone by since Abraham had first started blogging about his intended suicide. So why didn't anyone try to stop him? Perhaps he was hurt beyond recovery, but if someone had really tried to console Mr. Biggs, he may have at least thought twice about his actions. Instead, the tormenting messages from others only furthered his pain and anguish that he had already been feeling.
Now, one of the biggest areas being hit by cyberbullying is the classroom. Kids these days are so computer literate that it's becoming increasingly common for students to post rude or hateful information about others, even teachers, online. The Edmonton Journal explains this issue quite well in the case of 11 suspended students in Caledon, Ontario in February of 2007. These students were suspended for posting sexually explicit, derogatory comments about a principal online. Online harassment is not restricted to certain age groups, and this is what makes it even worse for society. Toronto-based internet analyst Jesse Hirsch states that cyberbullying is an incredible power that, when unleashed on somebody at any age, can be totally devastating. A 2002 British survey by National Children's Home found that 1 in 4 youth, that's 25% of youth aged 11 to 19, had been threatened over their cell phone or computer, including death threats. The National Crime Prevention Center has stated last year that over 40% of all teenagers with internet access had been reported bullied online. Extensive research on middle school age students and teenagers online found that there are 5 problems that are growing within the world of cyberbullying. They include 1. Stealing an individual's name and password to a social networking site, then using that account to post rumors, gossip, or other damaging information online. 2. Altering photographs using Photoshop or other photo editing software in order to humiliate an individual. 3. Recording a conversation with someone without their consent, then posting that conversation online. 4. Creating confrontational or mean-spirited online polls about an individual and then posting those on different websites. And finally, using websites and blogs to post hurtful, embarrassing information about another individual. Abraham Biggs is not the only person who has been cyberbullied to the point of suicide. Perhaps more commonly known is the story of 13-year-old Megan Meyer from Missouri. Our field correspondent, Gary Tuckman, had the opportunity to meet with her parents to discuss their ordeal.
She got bullied in school, and she had big self-esteem issues. She had struggled with depression since she was in the 3rd grade.
Megan's mother and father allowed her to set up a MySpace account under their supervision, and said their 13-year-old swooned when she got her first affectionate note ever from a boy named Josh Evans.
I did contact the police department, and I called and asked to be transferred to the Cyber Crimes Division to see how can I check to see if this MySpace account is real. Nothing you can do.
And then one day,
it was a whirlwind. It was Josh saying horrible things to Megan, Megan saying things back to him.
Nasty messages from a boy who just a day before meant everything to this lonely girl. One in particular cut deep.
The world would be a better off place without you and have a shitty rest of your life.
After initially telling us they weren't even investigating the case anymore, the prosecutor is now telling CNN his office will review the situation. But more than a year has gone by since Megan hanged herself. Tina and Ron Meyer, who have separated partly because of the stress, were told by lawyers it was best to stay quiet. But they no longer are. They are angry and feel they owe it to Megan to speak out.
What makes Megan Meyer's story worse is that Josh was a fake. He wasn't even real. He never existed. He was created by the mother of an ex-friend of Megan's because she was angry that she had stopped being friends with her daughter. I can't even begin to think of how this grown woman thought that these actions would be even slightly moral. Children today are exposed to so many different media productions daily, thousands at that. They are forced to have ridiculously high expectations of themselves and those around them because they compare reality to what they see in magazines and on TV. Anyone who does not fit into these cultural norms is seen as weird or different, and when insults are posted on the internet, the situation becomes difficult for those who do not fit in. As long as online culture is out and available to everyone, there will always be the chance that cyberbullying or harassment will occur. It is up to us to teach younger generations how to use the internet with responsibility, so that one day society might realize that such immature behavior is intolerable.